Okay, so each of your 5 cups need to have 100 milliliters of water in it. So you go to the sink and you fill up your graduated cylinder. It's a little bit more. Good. Pour it in there. I've already done the first 4, so now I have all 5 and I'm ready to start the experiment. So before you start anything, you need to write down the initial temperature, and it says you may infer, which means if you measure 1 cup, you're going to know the temperature for all the cups because it came from the same sink and it's the same styrofoam cup. So you're going to take your thermometer, and then cup number 1, you're going to get the temperature. You give it a little bit to adjust. This one's right between 24 and 25, so I'll round up and say 25. So the initial temperature here is going to be 25 degrees Celsius for all of these cups. I don't need to take the time to measure every single cup because I can infer that since it's the same amount of water coming from the same tap, it's going to be the same temperature. Okay. Now the post temperature is going to be after the calcium chloride in this column is added to your water. So in cup 1, since we're not doing any calcium chloride, the temperature is going to stay at 25 degrees. Now your temperature might be a little bit different than here, but we're still looking for a difference in temperatures. Now the second cup, you need to add 5 grams. So you're going to take your cup here, and you'll notice your scale that was already balanced is now imbalanced because the cup has mass. So before you pour until it gets to 5, what you're going to do is figure out the mass of your cup. So you have to squat down here, get in line, and then move the slider. Okay, so it's not 4. Try 2. It is not 2. Here, you can get in closer in here. Okay, so I'll try 3, right on the dot at 3. Almost just a little bit below that. We'll try 2.8. A lab scale you can use if it starts wavering, kind of set it where you want, and then it won't waver quite as much. Okay, so 2.8. What that means is that every number I'm adding right here, you're going to have to add 2.8 to it to the total amount. So if I'm trying to get 5 grams of calcium chloride, the calcium chloride and the cup are going to add together to get 5 plus 2.8 grams, 7.8 grams total. So I'm going to take my cup, pour a little bit in here. You can tap on the screen, it will focus again. And I'm going to try to balance it out after I already set it at 7.8. So let's see what I got here. Not enough. Add a little bit more. So you can see at this point, when this is much higher than your level, then you've added way too much. So instead of saying, oh, it's close enough, you're going to have to pour it back and see how much. Still too much. I'm just going for 5 grams here plus the cup, getting a little bit closer. See, pretty close. Maybe one. Yeah, okay, it's settled out. Good. So now we're at 7.8. This is 5 grams of calcium chloride plus my cup. So what I'm going to do is take it over here to not my first cup, but my second cup that I need 5. So take my thermometer, dump my calcium chloride in, and I'm going to stir. You can get in here and do this. So you should have been stirring with your thermometer until there is no more flakes. You don't feel anything, right? The mixture in your group would have done this. And then you check the thermometer. And it should be definitely different than what you started with. Now I see it at a little past 27. It's climbing still. You should only give it a max of a minute to settle out, because it's going to start to cool off again. So it's stopping at 28, and we're going to record that it's 28. So for 5 grams of calcium chloride, it only upped the temperature about 3 degrees. We do the same thing for the third cup, where we're adding 10 grams. Okay? So what I need to do here, if my cup is 2.8 grams, I need to have 12.8 grams total. So I'm going to move it back to 2.8. That's my cup, and it should be balanced. Okay? And I'm going to move this to 10. 10 plus 2.8 is 12.8. Okay? And I'm going to add my calcium chloride. Okay, see I did a little too much. I'm going to pour some back. Shooting for 10 grams here. A little too much still. Much closer. Just a little too much. If you had a spoon, you could have scooped these out, but I'm just going to pour out a couple of flakes each time. So I need to add just a little bit more. There we go, 12.8. Okay, now I'm going to take this, find cup 3, pour it in here, and then stir it just like the other two. I can still feel the flakes, right? There's more calcium chloride. Once it's dissolved, I'm going to set the thermometer down. I'm not even going to touch it. I don't want me to influence the temperature. See it at about 32, and it's still climbing. Trying to get to 33. I'm going to make a point here. Look back at while that one is still reacting. Look at cup number 2. See the temperature dropping. Right now it is about 29, and it's settling back down at 28. So you're not going to see much of a difference after a minute or so. So if I go back here to my cup, this is why you don't need to spend a ton of time trying to do this. Right now it's at going back to 32. And close one eye and look at it. I see it at 33. So I've got 33. Now I'm going to write that here for my post temperature. Okay, now I'm going to try the fourth one. My fourth one, I need 20 grams plus my 2.8. So that means I'm going to have it at 22.8. So I'm going to add some more. Just a little too much. Okay, pour out some. Okay, poured out too much. You're going to have to go back and forth, but you're trying to be as exact as possible. You get a margin of error on these answers, but you can't be off by like 5 degrees, right? If you have a triple beam balance, you need to be as exact as you can. So maybe one little flake off. Perfect. Okay. Cup 4. Here we go. And see, cup 3 right now is still at 33 degrees. That's what we stopped at. You don't need to be stirring this, right? You can move on to cup 4. Here we go. 20 grams. Person stirring should definitely have felt whenever it completely dissolved. It's climbing right now. It's past 40 degrees. Can you see that on there? Okay, cool. Glad it came through. So it's about 43 degrees right now. I don't see it moving enough that we have to round again. So just under 43 degrees. It's going to round up to 43 degrees. Okay? So look at this. We've got an interesting relationship here. We've got 10 grams to 20 grams, we doubled the amount of calcium chloride, and we jumped up 10 degrees. From 5 to 10, we went up 5 degrees. From 10 to 20, we went up 10 grams, 10 degrees. Okay? Wasn't exactly quite perfect right here, but we can have an idea of what to expect whenever we add 40 grams, right? We went from 20 to 40, that's 20 extra. Maybe we'll see an increase of 20 degrees. Let's try the last one. We need not 40 grams, 40 plus your cup, so I'm looking at 40 2.8. So here we go. And this should be most of the rest of this cup actually. Pretty close. One little bit extra. Perfect. Don't need to be a science teacher to be exact. Okay? Take my 40 grams calcium chloride, pour it into my water. Make sure you get all of it in there. You can even see in the cup right here, the longer the calcium chloride sits out unopened, it starts absorbing moisture from the air. That's why it's stuck in there. I saw a lot of you trying to tap your cup to get it go in there. Be fast with this stuff. Definitely looks a little bit different than the other ones, but it's still cloudy. So let's see what twice the amount of calcium chloride showed us. Okay, it's at about 59 degrees, climbing towards 60. While we wait for this to level off, I want to show you this over here. This is the cup that Coach Carr had, right? This looks like Dippin' Dots in water. This is calcium chloride, the damper that we use today. Coach Carr put this in a cup on Friday and did not add any water to it at all. Just leaving it out, it sucked out moisture from the air, and this is all the moisture that a little bit, maybe 10 grams, took in. So this is why you start to see it caked up in the cup right here, and then in the rest of yours, like on your spoons and stuff that you use. So this stuff, the main use of this is a moisture absorption. So, right, try to keep it covered. Okay, now let's check out our cup over here. I've got it at 59 degrees exactly. That's what I see, okay? So, was it 20 degrees exactly more? No, but pretty close. There you go.